is Arpan Shah. I lead the product management team. I took this job a few months ago, and before that I was leading the SharePoint technical product management team for the 2007 and 2010 releases. Been with Microsoft over 9 years. Before that I was doing other product management roles in the industry, so really happy to be part of the project.
Can you tell us what your top 3 priorities are going to be for the next 12 months with Microsoft projects?
Yeah, one of them is just making sure we have a great continued launch, if you will. Making sure there's great momentum, that people are aware of the great 2010 release, for all the investment we've done. And we're already seeing people deploy, so we want to make sure we continue that. The second priority is staying connected with our communities, MPUG, customers, partners, or field, to make sure we're very well connected, because there's a very big community out there, and we want to listen and hear and understand how we can make great software. And the third one is contributing to the vision. We just released 2010, and we're excited about it. We're already working on the next version. So making sure I can align with that and contribute and work with my engineering partners to make sure we continue developing great software.
In our community's been upgrading really aggressively. Has sales overall been on track? Have you found a very positive response?
Yeah, I am. Unfortunately, I can't comment on sales, but I can say that the response has been fantastic. We've had a tremendous number of downloads of the beta software, the eval software, and there are real customers today, big customers, that are actually using Project Server 2010. So they're deployed today, like Volvo, Amdocs, Marquette University. They didn't wait for SP1, they didn't wait for a bunch of stuff. It's a high quality product, and people are excited about what it can do, and they're very confident about what it can deliver. Overall, there are 20 million project users out there, Microsoft project users, and over 10,000 orgs with Project Server, and we're just seeing great progress with 2010.
What do you think about the projects that have gotten you most excited that customers are talking about?
Sure. There are so many. I think I'll just choose a couple from the client and the server. On the client, the user experience, it's easy, it's simple, feels just like Office 2007, Office 2010, so people like the ribbon. The other thing that people like is how easy it is to schedule. There's manual and auto scheduling, and it's really intuitive. So the client schedules for you, or you can manually schedule, which is a feature people want. My favorite is the timeline view. I just love the timeline view. I can choose a timeline view, copy it, stick it in email, stick it in PowerPoint, and then of course, based on my background, is SharePoint Sync. Like the Project Pro syncs with SharePoint task lists, and it could be Foundation, it could be Server, just a great seamless bi-directional sync. So those are some of the few on the client side. On the server side, it is clearly great features on the web editing capabilities. The integration with SharePoint, I think customers are really happy about how it's well integrated, whether it's reporting, it's the Excel services, and then just the quality of the product. Project 2010 is a high quality product, so we're seeing people get really excited about the extensibility and the scalability of the platform itself.
You mentioned SharePoint. The mix of project and SharePoint is something that's difficult for some of our users to get their head around. Can you talk a little bit?
The simplest way to think about it is, when I think of project management, it's about managing your projects, your schedule, your resources, your dollars, but it's also about all the content surrounding the project. So what you're collaborating on, the documents, the tasks, even the reports around it. So the nice thing about SharePoint and Project is not only can you manage your work and your resources, but you can have all your related content in SharePoint. By having a bi-directional, out-of-the-box integration, you can work in either one of the tools and feel very integrated across all your work. So that's the simplest way to think about it. In fact, when I think about it, I don't think of them as separately per se. I'm working the tools, but we have two different technologies, so sometimes we talk about them differently.
Maybe Project is still a little too far, maybe too pricey. Most of these folks work on competitive products. What would you answer?
Well, the first thing I'd answer, just a couple things. First is we have different versions of projects. So we have Project Standard, we have Project Professional, at different price points. So depending on your needs, you should choose the flavor of project you want. The other piece that's really interesting is that from a complexity perspective, we tried to really make Project 2010 really easy. I talked about the ribbon. It feels like Excel, which we find a lot of casual people using Excel, and we think Project 2010 not only is as easy as Excel, but it gives you all the things Excel doesn't. So the resource management, the scheduling, and a bunch of other features that you don't get in Excel. So we tried to keep it really simple. From other competitors, at the end of the day, I think Project gives you a great ROI and a low TCO compared to it. So there are other vendors out there that will potentially, very, very low-end vendors that will offer very basic capabilities, but a lot of it is just sharing. It's very basic. And when you look at what you pay, they're subscription-based, they look cheap, but over time, if you look at the total cost of ownership versus the ROI, I feel like we have a great ROI. You get all the rich features, it's simple to use, for a price point that, if you look at, just to take a look at standard, it's about $500 for full retail price, and typically you get a discount if you're, depending on where you are. If you use that software for 3 years, that's $12 a month. So if you look at the lifetime, and if you look at kind of the ROI you get, you just save yourself 10, 12 hours, you're easily making the best TCO out there, the lowest TCO out there, and I feel really good about that. So across the spectrum, I feel like we deliver the value to give the maximum ROI.
So what do you hear from Microsoft? Questions people are coming
One of the interesting questions, which I want to be very clear with here, is people are asking if they can move from 2003 to 2010. And the answer is absolutely. You don't have to go through 2007. If you had 2003 or have 2003, and you're excited about 2010, you can move straight to 2010. On the client side, it's direct. On the server side, we walk through how to do it, but you don't have to buy licenses for 2007. So we've seen a lot of people come and ask this. Project management, it's not just about tools. Our job is to create software. Community is important, best practices are important, so the software can only do so much. And what I've seen is that depending on where you are in the world, there are cultures and certain realities of where you live that make project management a little different. So I'll give you a couple examples. In Asia, I went to school in Hong Kong, I went to school in India. Corporate culture is very hierarchical. We don't in the US respect our bosses, but there it's very hierarchical. When you report to someone, you email that person, you don't go above. So reporting, being very schedule driven and writing your status reports is part of the culture. You have to do it. And people respect that. And the way Outlook is used, the way Project is used is different. And that's a cultural perspective. On the flip side, in certain parts in Asia, resources, time, isn't always deterministic. If you think something will get done in a day, there are a lot of dependencies in those countries where it may not be done. Project 2010, we've taken some of those requirements, and you don't have to put a date. You don't have to put a hard date. You can actually say, I think it's here. You can put words in, so people aren't on a strict project deadline, and they can actually go and build as they go. So from a scheduling perspective, it's different. In the United States, we of course respect corporate culture, but it's a little different. The software has to do a little bit more reporting for you. We want to make sure it's very clear on how to report. We have alerts, we have tasks, we have integration with Outlook, we have integration with SharePoint, so it does a little bit of auto magic discovery. Also in the United States, because there's a lot of systems driven by software, Project has an ability to be holistically tied with Dynamics, with Visual Studio, because things are a little bit more deterministic and automated versus places like India, where they're not all automated. So in the US and in the Western world, people want to have a holistic view where everything is connected, and it's possible. So we do that as well. And in fact, at the conference, we've announced our integration with Dynamics SL 2011. So Dynamics SL 2011 will have out-of-the-box integration with Project Server, so you can have one.
How will you know when you succeeded with those priorities at the end of 12 months? What would a perfect project world look like?
I think success for us is making sure we're able to deliver on the high-end project and portfolio management capabilities, and Project 2010 is very well positioned to do that. So it can be a great set of technologies for high-end PPM, and we're able to deliver on that, and I'm confident we will. But beyond that, what I would love to see in the next 12 months and beyond is really Microsoft Project being a tool that everyone can use. And this comes back to the notion of work management I talked about, which is project management isn't just for the PMO office, isn't just for strict project managers. It should be capabilities that everyone can use. And I feel like with Project 2010, it's simple enough. It's of course industrial strength and reliable. And I feel like we'll make great headway in the next 12 months, and we'll continue focusing on that. And the vision for us, in terms of how I'll personally feel good, is we at this company, we at Microsoft work there because we are passionate about what it can do for people. That's why I joined the company about 10 years ago. And for me, success is that people love our product, use it, feel really great about it. That's success. So MPUG and communities like this, we're really excited to work closely with all of you.